Sagittarius, this is your March 2022 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, this is a general reading. And we're going to give you some key astrological dates, and hopefully some of these intuitive messages that come through will also help you navigate your way through the coming weeks. So we're into Pisces season and 4th house energy. Sagittarius, sometimes the most important things that you'll ever do in your life, no one is going to see, no one is going to know about them or be aware of them to validate or to celebrate. And there's something about the energy of March in you coming to terms with this and recognizing to the degree that you want to attach value and meaning to those things that go on behind the scenes. Because if you can't give yourself credit for where you are right now in the journey, for what you have endured, what you've been through, what you're still coming to terms with, what you're still working on, then it's like you're always seeking or looking for the answers outside of yourself. So the requirement in 4th house energy to really be the inner parent, to nourish and to tend to those parts of yourself that need caretaking, that need the extra love, the extra strength and respect right now, really matters. And it's going to make a difference as to how you experience what emerges through this month of March. We're opening up with the energy of the Empress. And so there's a very generous quality, I think, that's coming forth from you, but you're being generous with yourself, and I think that really matters. You know, you're going to give yourself more time to figure something out. You're going to give yourself more space to be able just to breathe and exhale whatever it is that's been triggering you or stressing you out. You're going to be more deeply honest with yourself about what isn't working and where you currently are in the cycle of something, so that you're not expecting, if you're in a period that maybe something is going through a winter season, that you're expecting all of the results to happen straight away. Remember, the Empress is really aligning to her environment. She's able to draw abundance towards her because she understands how to utilize the resources and to work with what is in a state of bloom at this exact time. And so as you recognize these things, you are really laying a deeper foundation of peace for yourself. And you're recognizing a deeper opportunity to really strengthen the relationship that you have with yourself. It's a little bit of a pilgrimage, honestly, I feel that. And it's where you're going to be honoring where you've been and also where you are, and some of the plans that are starting to emerge for you about where you're going. Now, the new moon in Pisces that came in at the beginning of March really wanted to highlight and reattach you to some of the things that matter most. You might feel conflicted about that for some reason. It may be that you feel that you don't have time right now, you don't have energy, you don't have the space. You maybe feel that people will judge you, but you know what? They're going to judge you regardless. So as everybody else gets busy in trying to work out their particular kind of stress right now, and perhaps the infighting, the bickering, the kind of trying to convince or force or cajole each other, it's not really where you want to be. It's not what you're invested in. It's not what you have time for. Rather, you're stepping back and observing what's going on, watching everybody, knocking this hornet's nest, almost expecting and anticipating what you're going to see as a result. But you're being moved to be challenged in a different way. And so, these people around you, they may not be hugely toxic, but they can still be exhausting. And that's really leading for me to see you kind of having a release, or certainly a limit that you're placing, your own form of sanctions, if you like, as to who gets to be a part of your energy, who gets to be a part of your pathway or the conversation that you're having this month. Now, of course, as we observe some of the pain and suffering that's going on around us on the world stage, it can be difficult. We can feel helpless and powerless, and it's almost as if things are so much bigger than us. Where to begin? But Spirit, remind us that it always starts with us. And that as we choose to attune to the highest version of ourselves that we can reach for in any given moment, that's where we're able to find a deeper sense of harmony and balance in who we are in our energy field. That's where we have access to solutions. That's where our kindness, our heart energy can really be lit up as we take better care of ourselves. We lead by example, and we're putting that energy signature out into the world so that other people can find resonance, and it starts to build into a stronger, unifying state of consciousness that helps to move things forward. The old and the new you feel like they're merging this month, Sagittarius, and you have to honour both, and that can feel really tricky. So how do you do that? Well, the High Priestess says, with a deep sense of presence, and most importantly, you have to listen. You have to listen to yourself. You have to tune into the subtle cues that your body's going to be giving you about what feels good and what doesn't. Sometimes we have to go back to the old versions of us to make sense of something, or to retrace our steps, to maybe identify where we abandoned ourselves or where we need to pick back up. So we have to honour that, but at the same time we still want to be striving and moving forward and listening to where our intuition wants to guide us. High Priestess is a passive energy. She's also holding court. She's got a deep magnetism going on. And so there's something about you being in a position where a lot is being put upon you. People are looking towards you for the answers. They're expecting you to know more than other people. And you may feel that you do in some regards and still think, actually, it's not the right time to share, or it's not for me to actually be the one that presents that information. But at the same time, you're also in a place where reading the energy of the room, understanding your audience, and knowing the right time is going to really matter this month. It's like the nuance is everything through the course of March. And in that fourth house, where it's deeply connected to our emotional roots, there's just something about you having to make sense of the story that has been before, so that you can understand what is being asked of you right now in this present pathway from your higher self, from your guides, from the way that you are observing your own spiritual journey. Remember, the truth is very subjective, Sagittarius, so discernment is going to be so necessary. Even with yourself, because sometimes our ego wants to ride shotgun, doesn't it? And that can really create that sense of imbalance and inner conflict with us. Your Ace of Wands is bringing about a new sense of drive with something. Perhaps where you felt a little jaded or disenchanted, all of a sudden now you can see a way forward, you can see a way through. It may only be a glimpse, it may be fleeting, but you'll be able to hold on to it long enough that it can become your truth. And that matters. Now, the final part of the trilogy between Venus and Pluto, that conjunction, takes place on the 3rd. You got to track back to December 11th and 25th to see what this story has been teaching you about yourself, about how you value who you are in connection to the important close love relationships in your life, who you are in terms of the stability and the safety that you draw from the abundance that surrounds you or that you're still grappling with. You have the spirit fire of this Ace of Wands that says, this is the beginning of something new. So what is being asked of me right now? Sometimes we have to show up even when we don't want to. Every fibre in our being wants to say no, and yet we have an obligation, a duty or a responsibility to someone or to something. And that's life. Sometimes we have to do things that don't feel good or don't feel like we really want to participate. In those instances, what you're being reminded of is that you can still factor in time after the event. You can still factor in the opportunity to be able to rebalance your energy field. That's what it means to kind of exist in the deeply complex pathways that you're in right now, where we don't get to necessarily have everything on our terms all of the time, even though you're pre-paving to get closer to that each and every day. So if there are obligations or things being asked of you, if you're being asked to conform, or the structure feels too rigid, then be reminded that you can still give yourself that space, that time out, that rebalancing after the event. So factor that in, give yourself time in the diary. That feels like it's a really important message for you this month. Now the Hierophant comes in, it's been showing up a lot this month, and the message that it really seems to have for us is that we need to be prepared to allow ourselves to be re-educated, to be shown new ways. And we may be fighting that sense of having to conform, fighting against the establishment, the structure, the order of things, and really readdressing where we want to commit. Because the Ace of Wands is saying, oh, here's where I feel motivated, here's where the inspiration's coming in for me. I don't want to be over here doing this job. I don't want to be stuck with this person or in this sense of responsibility. So you're having a delicate balancing act. Now the equinox is going to be happening this month, so that's going to be a beautiful opportunity to have a reset. Ahead of that though, we're going to be welcoming the full moon in Virgo. There's your chance to have a beautiful surrendering of something. It's coming in at 27 degrees, so it's really taking that potency of what Virgo wants to energetically present to us. The sun is also sextile to Pluto, so there's a positive charge, wanting, willing you to move forward. But saying the medicine here is that we have to let go and we have to find a deeper sense of moderation and balance in our life in order for this to happen, in order for us to feel like we can keep showing up for ourselves and for others. There's also something about the vulnerability of receiving here. What does it actually take to put yourself in an energy where you can accept and allow the things that you want? How often do we self-sabotage and get so close to the end game, so close to the finishing line, and we do something to mess it up, or we get in our own way, or we use all of our past experience and stories to convince us that it's not going to work or it's not going to stay around. Temperance is coming in to help you in that regard. So it feels to me that March is the deliverance of something that you've wanted or asked for, but it's making you feel very sensitive or vulnerable as you acknowledge that it's getting closer, or indeed that it has arrived. What does that mean? Where do you go from here? Sometimes it's the recognition that those dreams are the things that we've been asking for. When they do turn up, they might not look or feel like we'd expected. And that can throw us off balance a little bit. So again, we have to go back into the self and really understand and listen to what the cues are from spirit. How can I allow myself to fully receive this energy? Sometimes we don't get the answers. Sometimes we're left feeling helpless or blind. Whether that be in our health or in the relationships, we don't get the closure or the information that we think is going to give us that sense of inner peace. And so again, through the course of March, it feels to me that you're having to be your own truth teller. You're having to give the answers to yourself. If they're not coming from the people that you need them to, or from the areas that you've been seeking them from, then it's going to require that you dig a little bit deeper somewhere else. The revelation of that might be quite painful, because then you're unearthing your own soul wounds. Why have I been in denial? Why have I disowned this? Why have I not given myself credit for the fact that actually I knew this? I've known it for a long time. My body's been trying to tell me. But again, there's a release here, and it can be cathartic. The upset that comes with the Three of Swords, it isn't a negative upset, because it sets us free. Even though it can be a painful experience, what it sets us free from is an energetic, emotional response that's so intense, it's kind of gripped us. So wherever you apply it, whether it be to a breakup or to the loss of somebody or to the disappointment, it's like the state of emotional energy that you were in ahead of that release happening was not something that you could sustain. The body knows when it needs to allow energy to dissipate. So there's something deeply valuable about that. And again, it's like this honesty with yourself and this vulnerability that I see coming through. It really helps your heart to be the thing that's going to guide you. Your heart, remember, Sagittarius, has to be a safe haven for you. You want it to be the place where you can find that respite, not that every time you dip into it, it's activating these storms. Mars and Venus are shifting out of Capricorn and into Aquarius on the 5th of the month. And the adjustment that takes place is one that says, how can I exercise and find a greater degree of freedom with what I'm doing in my life right now, in the relationships that I have? How can I feel more like myself? Well, the Page of Pentacles is almost telling you that there's something new to learn, but there's also offers or invitations that will come your way that will give you a chance to demonstrate that, to show people this is who I am now, or this is what I want, or what I need, or how I'm going to express or share something that matters to me. You have something of value in who you are, but you have to be open to not only the receiving of where that can take you, but also open to understanding the opportunities that are showing up so that you can actually exercise that and see what it feels like. Because you may have been so used to conforming or operating in a very structured, disciplined manner, or part of a connection or a dynamic that, constantly shrouded you or dimmed your light or silenced your voice. And so as you're emerging through that self-parenting energy, you are judge and jury to yourself, but also you're facing that judgment from others. But you're going to be encouraged to keep going anyway. And the page suggests to me that you're committed and ready to invest in this new outlook, this new dynamic, this new way forward, and that's important. Now, there may well be some kind of interesting proposals or offers that come your way. You can show up messy and imperfect, Sagittarius. You don't have all your shit together. Don't worry. It doesn't have to be perfect. Even though that Virgo full moon might lead you to believe that this is not possible unless everything is in its right order. Well, that's not life right now. So let that equinox energy come in and rebalance something, because there's an important coming together. There's an important alliance forming, a union that wants to be recognized, a new sense of devotion, a new connection, whether it be love or professionally coming in for you. And you are speaking the same language here. You're on the same page, and you seem to be at the same point in time, which really matters, isn't it? Because sometimes we can feel like we meet the right person and it's such the wrong time, or we're at different stages. But what we're looking at here is an energy of togetherness, and I feel a real sort of determination to want to make something work. And that matters as well. So as the sun comes into Aries, and we're that 5th house energy for you, we've got the beginning of the new astrological year. This whole kind of explosion of heart energy wants to initiate new creative projects for you. It wants you to start to romance the hell out of life, fall back in love with things that, you've discarded or put to the side. Find people who really are going to nourish you and feel like you can exercise that unconditional love for yourself and for them. Wants you to have more fun and kind of reconnect with that inner child. Now, I know it's against the backdrop of things that feel like they are at times too much to bear. But as we said, this is an opportunity and a moment for you to not be a part of the chaos, but be a part of the solution by finding a new foundation of peace for yourself. And then you get to express that heart energy. It's far higher in its vibrational medicine and the impact that it can have. Let's take a look and see how these oracle cards want to join this conversation. Just a little heads up, Sagittarius, I have my own oracle deck coming out, and I'm going to be launching it for pre-orders later this month. So if you want to get a sneak preview and hear about all the details, I've got a link in the description, the comment section, and you can sign up to learn more about that. Okay, so your oracle card is Fool's Embrace, transmuting pain. Well, 22 is coming in. It's an important number for us this year as we work with it as a master number, and the portal energy of the 22nd of February is still something that you are feeling into and working with. And I think there was probably a deep sense of release or transmutation that took place for you at that point. You were perhaps feeling the energy shifts quite viscerally. You look quite protective of yourself right now. You're still in that kind of chrysalis phase where something is needing to be honoured. And again, in that fourth house energy, it is very personal. And it's very tactile and it's very gentle and soft, and you really have to feel your way through that. You know, it's that mothering energy that matters. What and whom do you need to embrace? It's always going to begin with the self. And if we think about it from the Fool's journey, that's the thing that helps you to begin again. I like this rich indigo. It's sort of bleeding into the indigo of the High Priestess, which is really all about that third eye being awakened. New information coming to light for you that helps you to kind of really make sense of something and tend to those soul wounds quite strongly. Again, because it's illuminated by that full moon, you might be having things coming up around that that Virgo full moon on the 18th. Now be aware that there's a couple of squares happening just after. On the 19th, Venus is squaring Uranus, and on the 22nd, Mars is squaring Uranus. Remember, Uranus comes in with surprising information. It comes in and kind of brings sudden shifts and change that is about helping us to break free. But it can be quite shocking in its approach. And so with Venus and Mars, it's about the way that we do things, the actions that we take, which may feel very impulsive, or other people acting that way towards us. And it may impact on our money stories, our abundance, and our love connections. So squares are about the pressure that we feel. But sometimes we need that pressure to kind of to help bring out the best in us, yeah, or to find solutions where we felt boxed into a corner. So your astrology card is Solar Calm, Clarify. Excuse me. So the clarification that's needed here, I feel, does get presented to you. Your High Priestess is telling me secrets are revealed, information is given. And what that feels like is it gives you the opportunity to move the energy in the environment that's been affecting you. Everything is linked here. Everything is connected. And it feels quite complex, a situation to be dealing with through the course of March. And I feel like something is being asked of you. More is being asked of you in some area. And yet I feel like you're more than up for the challenge. In fact, I feel like you exceed not only other people's expectations of you, but your own expectation of yourself. It's just like I see a moment this month where you just go like, okay, well, to hell with it. I may as well just give it my best. I may as well just go all in. Even if this isn't, you know, what I'd wanted or where I saw myself or exactly, you know, the thing that lights me up right now, I'm still just going to give it 100%. I see like you really committing just from a basis of like, I'll just show myself that actually I can do this. I am capable of this. So there's a tremendous amount of gain and growth that comes in very quickly because of a mindset shift or an attitude change that happens. And I think you're going to surprise the heck out of a few people this month, but that's a really positive thing on your part. Okay, Sagittarius, this is a general reading for March. So I'm just going to invite you to think about a personal question that might not have come up in the main spread. If you're new to the channel, then we will cover this off in the extended version of the reading. And it's a way to support my channel and the work that I do. And also just to get another 20 minutes or so of messages that can help you through the course of this month. So I'm just going to clarify the main spread, beginning with the energy of the Empress. We have the King of Swords coming through. We've got the balance of the heart energy and then logic and reason happening. Just perhaps what you need to deal with that 5 of Pentacles. Okay, 10 of Swords, 2 of Cups, and the Magician. Okay, so your High Priestess is bringing another 5 of Wands energy in. The contrast will serve you, you know, the challenge of some of the environments and the conversations that happen this month feels like they just directly lead you to getting very clear about something. Okay, we've got your card coming through with the Knight of Wands. 3 of Wands, beautiful. Okay, Temperance and the Hanged Man. Okay, that 3 of Swords is coming in with Earth energy. Could well be a Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo this may be connected to. Okay, just pull one more Sagittarius. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you continue to find resonance with the messages as March unfolds. And if you're joining me for the extended, I look forward to continuing this conversation with you. I'm just going to wish you beautiful blessings for this month, you too.